Good afternoon, folks. What I've got here is what I believe to be the absolute best way to grow a garden in your own soil. Hands down, I do not know of a better way to get this done, and I'm going to try and make that case for you today. I'm going to show this to you, explain what you're looking at, and then I'm going to move over here to a chair inside the chicken pen and let you watch my chickens eat bread while I talk to you. Alright, now the row that's underneath this structure is where I grow all of my vining crops vertically. And I have started to form up a soil bed here. And you will notice on each soil bed, first off, the bed is raised. It's higher in the bed area than it is in both aisles. And along the edges of this soil bed is a ridge. Now, from twine to twine, and I'm going to have to move this so that you can see the other one. From twine to twine is 18 inches. Inside of my ridges, from the base of that ridge to the base of this ridge, is 12 inches. Between the soil beds, so from this edge to the one I do not have built up here yet, but the twine is up, is 3.5 feet. So my aisle between the two rows is 3.5 feet. From this twine to the next twine is a total of 5 feet. The growing area here, once again, is 12 inches. Alright, let me get moved and I'm going to explain to you why I think this is the absolute best way to grow in your own soil. Alright, now allow me to try to make the case why I believe that soil bed is the absolute best way to grow a garden in your own soil. First off, it is a raised bed. It is higher in the bed than it is out in the aisles. So if you have a massive amount of rain that comes through, those plants are going to be up higher than out in the aisle, and that water is going to drain from the soil bed out into the aisles. You may have water standing in the aisle, but you're going to have a portion of your plant roots that's going to be above that water, and you're not going to drown and lose all of the plants. Now, while we're on the topic of water, with these soil beds, you can use less water in your garden. The only place that I water in my garden is in... No, you can't steal that bread from the bag. You got to be patient. The only place that I water my garden is inside of that soil bed. I do not put water in my aisles. So I'm watering far less space in my garden. That's good, first off, because you're going to use less water. If you're in the city and on city water, you're not going to have as large of a water bill for your garden at the end of the year. Now, another benefit is because you're only putting the water in the area where your plants are going to be, in the growing area, you're not encouraging weeds to grow out in the aisle. If you have a sprinkler set up to water your garden, you're watering the entire thing. You're not just watering the plants, you're watering the walkways. We don't want to give the weeds food or water. We want to make it hard for them to survive. Now, I did not mention, and I should have, that soil bed is not my design. That is part of a Mittleider gardening method. I believe it to be the absolute best way to grow food for yourself and your family. Absolutely love it, but that's not the topic of this video. We can talk about that later on. I put the food from my plants on a weekly basis in the garden. I put that food in that soil bed between those two ridges. Again, my growing area inside of that ridge is 12 inches wide. I'm going to use less of that source of food, whatever it may be, and I know a lot of you are using compost and manure in your garden, you can use less of it. If you've got a compost pile going on, you don't have to work it into your entire garden. You can put it just in the area where you're actually going to grow your food. So you would put that compost and your manure inside that soil bed, turn it in with a shovel, and then you would be feeding your plants. Kind of like the watering, we don't want to feed the weeds. If you broadcast your compost, your manure through the entire garden, you're going to be providing the competition for your food with food. You're making it easier for it to grow, not harder. What do you say, buddy? That's my finger. The bread's between it. Thank you. There. Anybody want to jump? Now, I don't have anything growing in my soil yet. We are in northwestern Missouri, and if you paid any attention to the news, you may have heard of all the rain and all the flooding that we've had up here. Just recently, the soil has been dry enough for me to till, and my outside garden is very late going in. It is the end of the day, we are all tired, and I'm not getting anything transplanted in there today. But in the next few weeks, I will start to show you that this garden in the soil is growing, and it is growing well. Another reason to do this, it is inexpensive. It takes just a few basic tools. We do have access to a tiller, but you can often borrow or rent those if you don't have one. And 4 sticks, 2 strings, a hammer to drive the stakes in, a tape measure to measure out the width of the bed, a shovel, and a rake. And of course your time. And with that, you can build that soil bed. These are lavender Orpingtons, by the way. Hi, girls. They're kind of stingy on the eggs the last couple of weeks, though. Now, these soil beds are pretty easy to make. There is a little bit of a learning curve to them. And the gentleman that I learned to make them from has an outstanding video. I'm going to try and put an iCard up here for you to his video where he demonstrates how to do it, and a link in the description box below so that you can go and see it. Now, I don't want to get too long-winded in this and cover a bunch of stuff that nobody is interested in. I've kind of made the case of why I think that is the absolute best way to grow a garden. You're going to use less water. You're going to use less food for your garden. You're going to discourage weeds from growing in your aisles because you're not putting food and water out there for them. It's a raised bed so that you have good drainage for your plants when you get a heavy rain. Absolutely love it. This is my 4th year growing with them, and I will never go back to anything else. I do grow in a grow box too, but that's inside the greenhouse and something entirely different. As always, me and the chickens here appreciate you watching us. I thought you might enjoy a little different entertainment than just hearing me talk. And we appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos. Okay. Chill. If you have any questions for us, please leave a comment, or if you have a question pertaining to the Mittleider gardening method particularly, you can find a fantastic group on Facebook called the Mittleider Gardening Method. I've got a few more bits of bread to give these girls, and then I'm going to call it a day. Hello, Mr. Rooster. Need to hold it further away.